Good evening. It's Wednesday, June 8th, 2022. Welcome to the Town of Carmel Town Board Work Session. I'm calling this meeting to order. If everyone would please rise and face the flag. Councilman Baranowski will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I would ask everyone to just remain standing, please, for a moment of silence to remember our men and women in uniform scattered all over the world, serving the cause of freedom and democracy, and also remember the men and women of law enforcement. Thank you.
Thank you. So if anyone from the public would like to get up, 3 minutes on agenda items? No? You can sing if you'd like. No? Okay. If no one wants to, then we're going to start with the town board members. If you would review the minutes, they were emailed to us from May 18th and June 1st meeting, it would be appreciated. So the first item on the agenda, Lake Mayapack Park District Advisory Board, they request we consider authorization of their newsletter that they do every year to be distributed. They gave everyone a copy of it.
Yes, yeah, it was very informative and very well done.
So I don't think anyone has a problem with that one. The second item is our town comptroller, Mary Ann Maxwell. Consider request to authorize budget revisions April and May 2022. Mary Ann?
Good evening.
Good evening.
This is the budget revisions for April and May of 2022. The first one in the general fund, we're providing for the police vehicle accident repairs of $2,000. This is coming from the fund balance because we received the funds last year in 2021. The second one is providing for surcharge settlements. Right now, we're transferring $40,000 into the surcharge settlement line. We have a fund balance of over $1 million for this purpose, so we don't usually budget a lot of money because if the claims come in, we pull money from the fund balance to pay for the claims in the general funds. Number 5 in the general funds, we're transferring $5,000 for postage expense for mailing of COVID tests earlier in the year. This is coming from the contingent account. We usually budget about $150,000 in a contingent account each year, and we, pull from that as needed for circumstances like this. Also transferring $1,600 from the contingent account for the purchase of a license plate and security cameras in the police department. Number 7, we're transferring miscellaneous recreation expenses within the recreation budget. In the highway fund, we're providing for vehicle repairs from an insurance claim of $3,347. Also in the highway fund, we're transferring for general repair overtime of $3,500. That should, it's not over budget right now, $3,500, but according to Stacy, that should cover us through the remainder of the year in that account. In Carmel Fire Protection District number 2, we're transferring $4,500 for a dry hydrant survey. I believe they're doing the survey now, and then there would be costs if the board decided to go ahead with the dry hydrant itself. There would be costs that we'd have to pull from probably the fund balance for that, because that was not budgeted. Carmel Water District number 1, we're providing and transferring for equipment and emergency repairs. $25,000 is coming from the fund balance in that district, and $4,700 is coming from the repair reserve fund. The fund balance right now is healthy in that district. Even after pulling this $25,000, we will still have $200,000 in the Water District number 1, but it's something I'll keep an eye on. Carmel Water District number 3, we're transferring for emergency pump replacement of $10,890. In Carmel Water District number 6, 7, 8, we're transferring for emergency repairs of $5,000 in Water 6, $5,000 in Water 7, and $10,500 in Water 8. In Water District Number 10, we're transferring for contractual and emergency repairs of $6,000 and $8,600. And in Water District Number 13, we're transferring for the purchase of a turbine pump and emergency repairs, a total of $4,500. In Carmel Sewer District Number 7, we're transferring for microfiltration contractual expenses totaling $15,000. In the Drainage Capital Project and the Highway Resurfacing Capital Project, we're recording the 2022 capital authorization. $200,000 is the Drainage Capital Project, and $750,000 is the resurfacing, highway resurfacing. On page 3, the Special Drainage Project, $216,000 we're providing for engineering services for Birch Road Drainage Project. These funds are coming from the ARPA money that we received, and the county has allocated for us. In Lake Mahopac Park Capital Fund, we're providing for capital project costs of $75,000 from approved borrowing. Carmel Water District Number 2 Capital Fund, providing for capital project costs from approved borrowing of $3,248,000. And then miscellaneous capital funds for the tank project, we're providing for from proceeds of borrowing $2,600,000 in various funds for that project. And that's coming from the proceeds of borrowing, which we will eventually issue a bond on. That's all I have.
Now, you didn't receive any money yet because we still have to do an IMA with the county. That's not approved, right?
Correct, yes. So I mean, I did have to, transfer that with, so if the county decides not to provide those funds, with the IMA, we would have to, either use our ARPA money or we are going to be authorizing debt on that as well. I think they're preparing a bond resolution of $1,800,000. That's for the July 6th meeting that will be voted on.
Right.
So we could, use borrowing money, but right now I have it set for the ARPA funds,
Thank you.
to use the ARPA funds.
Anybody else, questions?
Nope. Thank you.
Okay,
Thanks.
thank you.
So we'll do a resolution on that. Next is our engineer, Richard Franzetti, PE, Town Engineer. Consider request to authorize purchase and installation of comminutor for Sewer District Number 2.
That is everyone's favorite word on the board. It's a comminutor,
I texted Lupinacci.
or it's a grinder, yes.
I did, I texted
That's the
him.
Lupinacci way, right? Sorry. Good evening,
Wait,
everyone.
I just want to understand, are you getting pronunciation lessons from John Lupinacci?
No, Ann actually
Oh, okay.
practices.
I just want to make sure.
No.
Infomark, the operators of Carmel Sewer District 2, alerted the engineering department that the comminutor or the sewer grinder or sewers grinder used at the Houston Road Pump Station South is towards its useful life and replacement parts are no longer available. Infomark requested and received a quote from JWC Environmental in the amount of $25,871.50. They estimated the age of the equipment to be replaced is about 13 years old, and the expected life expectancy of the new equipment is about 8 to 10 years. Infomark advised the department that the system to be installed are only provided by JWC Environmental. The department considers this particular manufacturer to be a sole source. Infomark will install the unit at a cost of $2,800. This is a regulatory compliance issue. If a blockage occurs, a comminutor fails, which potentially could cause raw wastewater flow, which puts the town of Carmel in violation of our state pollution discharge elimination permit, system elimination permit. There are sufficient funds in the budget, and we request that the board authorize the purchase of the comminutor from JWC Environmental at a cost of $25,871.50, and the installation of by Infomark at a cost not to exceed $2,800.
Anybody?
Rich, not particular to this particular project, obviously, but I think we had talked about in the past, next time we come up for a contract with Infomark or whoever, the costs associated with installation from them should be included in our overall cost.
Well, as the board knows, their contract is up at the end of the year. They've asked to meet with the board, so we can certainly discuss that with them in the future.
Great, thank you.
They might be set by prevailing wage, right? So that, the other thing is they might be set by prevailing wage. Right.
The rates are in there, but the inclusion of the additional work is not.
That's what I'm making reference to.
Right, so so the rates are in the document, right, but sometimes if the prevailing wage rate, depending on if they're using folks.
Right.
But you want that to be included as part of their service, not an extra charge.
As part of the overall contract.
Got it.
So while we're off on a tangent,
Sorry, I started that tangent.
so Swan Cove, those pumps don't seem to be functioning. Who would we have go look at that? And if we need new pumps, who would it be that would tell us about that?
We've had one of our operators looking at the pump, not Infomark, it was B&J, they've installed that pump. I think it just gets overwhelmed. They do function, except that there's just such a sheer large amount of water that occurs in that area. Plus, there's also dirt and debris that gets caught in there, and it mucks it up, so to speak. And that is what needs to be done. A comminutor would not be the answer for this. They're a special type of pump. They're meant to, a comminutor or a sewage grinder, which is kind of what we have outside, but we had the issue outside when we were backflowing.
With our sewer, yeah.
Excuse me?
With our sewer system here.
Yes, it would take rags, it would take whatever other large debris that's in standard flush down a toilet. It grinds it so it can pass through the system a lot easier. This isn't receiving, at least Swan Cove is not receiving large rags, debris, disposable wipes. While I'm making a public service announcement, there are no such thing as flushable wipes. Absolutely no such thing. Do not flush wipes down the toilet. No such thing. However,
So it's getting overwhelmed, it's not
just
that it's
getting
not
overwhelmed.
functioning.
Right. It's
Because
just
because
like-
we, Councilman Lombardi mentioned it to us on Friday, that it was so much water.
Right, we did get hit with almost 2 inches of rain in a very short period of time on Thursday. It just gets overwhelmed, so that's how that does.
So that's not going to be corrected until the RFP comes back with the design and the construction.
Right, the RFP is out now. I believe we have it coming back on July 10th. That will just start the design process to figure out how to, to design the park or Swan Cove.
Can we put a bigger pump or another pump?
I don't think the
the
pump would be
meantime?
needed going in. Maybe now you can put a bigger pump.
The issue,
Or greater, but when it's designed in the future.
But we
it's
could
gonna
do
be
that now,
raised.
though. No?
No, it can't be done now.
here's, Mr. Supervisor, here's the issue that we talked about. We're going to continue to have our farmers markets there on Sundays. If it rains on Friday, Saturday, it's going to be a mess. And it's hard enough for people to park, the parking is, thankfully, it's being well utilized. There's a lot of people coming to the farmers market from 9 to 2. That was part of a public service announcement, by the way.
Good job.
9 to 2 on Sundays. But we need to make sure that between the engineering department and the parks department, that on Friday, Saturday, that is pristinely dry.
We'll take a look at it. I'll work with Jimmy on that and just talk to him. Just so the board knows, the pump is functioning. It's just, as they said in George, you're going to need a bigger boat, you're going to need a bigger pump, right?
Right.
So maybe that'll work, but maybe not. Because the pump can only be sized to the outlet pipe that we have that was just replaced recently, right? So I think we have a 3 or 4 inch.
Maybe it needs an installation of another pump somewhere else also.
Well, just so the board again is aware and the public is aware, since we're here talking about it, that pump, there's water that's on the bottom of Mayapack National Bank or Tompkins Bank. I apologize if I don't have their name right. They have it in their basement. That gets put into there along with whatever overflows land-wise. So that's the low point in that area. So that was always there for taking the water out of the Mayapack Bank and to get some of the parking lot water. I just think it's just been overwhelmed. Some of the changes in the roadway and everything else that have been going on there have done it. I don't think a bigger pump, maybe a second pump would work. I just pray for no rain, or pray for no 3 inches of rain or 2 inches of rain.
Whatever the answer is, Rich, please talk to Jimmy about it. If we're going to continue to use that park for the farmer's market, we need to make sure that it's dry on Sunday mornings.
I'll do what we can.
Yeah,
Thank
so
you.
whether it needs another pump and whether it needs
I
something.
make no promises, but we'll do what we can to get
No,
you there.
well,
right?
speak to him about it, speak to the supervisor, whatever we need to do to get that,
Yeah, please, if the pump isn't working, then that's an easy fix, so.
Right. And to follow up on what Superintendent Simone was saying, you know, the idea is to level it. Once you level it, you won't need the pumps anymore. That is what the RFP, to follow up on what you were
But that's
saying,
gonna take-
Supervisor, the design goes in there, it's raising that whole platform there. It's making it so it won't flood, that water will be forced to go into Lake Mahopac. That's what the next phase of the RFP that's out there right now is a design.
Right, but we're not gonna, again,
It's going to be a long time.
from now until
That's completed.
Halloween, we're
Right.
gonna have the farmer's market where it's at. We're not doing any work, design, construction on it. So in the meantime, we need to make sure that it's dry and safe for everybody who's coming to the farmer's market. And it's
Okay.
getting, I mean, the reviews and everybody's just, every week it's getting, you know, bigger and better, and
Yeah.
people are loving it.
Yeah.
And the vendors are really, really happy coming here.
Another public service announcement.
That was part of the same one.
So item number 4 on the agenda, continuing along, consider request to acknowledge emergency repairs and services, Carmel Water Districts number 1 and 2. Richard Franzetti, please.
So this is just being presented to the board to advise you of emergency invoices that were submitted for payment in excess of $10,000 for services rendered. Carmel Water District 3 on April 21st. Infomark, the operators of Water 3, reported that well 5 in the vicinity of Carmel Sewer District 4 treatment plant has stopped working. This is the highest producing well in the district. Infomark contacted B&J Plumbing to assess the failure. It was determined that the motor failed due to use. Attached is an invoice from B&J Plumbing in the amount of $16,338.75 for the replacement of the well pump. Carmel Water District 1, on May 14th, B&J, the operators of Carmel Water District 1, reported a leak at the intersection of Cherry Street and 6N in downtown Mahopac. 3 valves at this location were found to be leaking. Attached is an invoice from Cook Excavating in the amount of $10,807.28 for the excavation and repair of the valves.
Thank you. Anybody have questions?
Yeah, just, the motor that failed on 3, how old, do we know how old that motor?
I'd have to double check that. That wasn't
Okay.
provided. I'll get that from Infomark. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's a handful of years old, but I don't know the exact age, so I can get that.
Generally, what's the estimated life of these gadgets?
You know, it's a crapshoot. They should be 5 to 10 years, you know, depending on use. This is the highest yielding well in that district. It is used the most. It is used all the time. So, you know, it does have it. If it gets hit with lightning, it could be 2 years, right? Sometimes we have shocks, and we go through with the board, and we put these through insurance. This one did not go through insurance. There was no, you know, weather-related activities in that time period before that this was done, so.
Got it. Are the manufacturer's warranties, are they typically short-term, a year, or?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, they're not terribly long.
Got it. Thank you.
No problem. Sorry, I'm making my note.
So we'll do a resolution on that, if everyone is okay with it? All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
So next up, our Highway Superintendent, Michael Simone. Consider request to authorize entering into a lease agreement with Kisara 3212I Copier Systems.
Yes.
Sir.
Good evening, Board. Yeah, as you can see with the backup material, this was a 5-year contract that we did before, and we're going to be looking for a 5-year contract going forward again. The good news is that the vendor came in coming in September, you know, we were looking at, the lease would be ending, but he anticipated, and we all know that probably money is gonna go up, so the lease end would cost us a little more. And we did this a little earlier, and also the availability of the machine now. Again, like anything else, machines can be hard to get. I will tell you that my secretary did most of the research. I looked at it afterwards, and I said, it looks fine to me. It's a minimal increase that, you know, I think we got it, what are we, $50 or $150 for a year, so. And we do produce a lot of documents out of
Oh,
it,
yeah.
you know, for bidding and whatever, so we do produce all those documents. We do multiple bids in a year, so I think it's a good deal.
Mike, the lease that you have on your copier across the street, it's not inclusive of the lease that we have with the copiers in this building, correct?
I don't think so. I don't,
They're
because
not.
we've always stood alone for years, so.
The lease with this building
Oh, now we've all, okay, now we paid those off, all right. Which run?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I remember when you came last time.
Anybody else? I think we're good with that. Thank you. Next, Michael Simone, Highway Superintendent, accept proposal for the purchase and installation of guide rails.
Yeah, I mean, one of the bids that I do in the fall, which was done, was the installation of guardrail. And we did a review over this winter, coming into the spring, and have numerous areas that our guardrail is either failed, or we're replacing wooden rail that is rotted, and we're putting in steel. Some of this stuff is also stuff that we have recouped money from car accidents. When we do have car accidents and we get a police report, we do file against the person that hit it, so we do get money back to replace this stuff. As I said, it's been bid. The only other part, the way you see it separated, is that my bid is for installation and material, but we are also purchasing guardrail of our own, so we can do slight, where we have parts of it that come down, we can do it on our own. So we're purchasing it off an Orange County bid versus our bid. We can piggyback off it, so some of this, that's why it's split up the way it is. And this way, we're gonna have our own guardrail here. I have extra footage, 200 feet I'm gonna leave in stock, just in case we can do small repairs quickly, where I don't need an outside vendor who's got the pounder and the line, and they do it much quicker. We do it with a backhoe and can do little sections, but not major sections. Plus, we have a couple redos, which are areas that either the plow or car or the slopes have failed, and the guardrail's bent over. So he's gonna come back in and take our stuff, take it out, redo it, replumb it with our same material, so I gotta pay him a rate, which we also don't bid. So it's a rate that's also on the Orange County bid, so that he can come back, use the same material, but he's got a machine to put it in and put it in right, rather than, I mean, you do 600, 700, 800 feet. Ours would look like a snake. He can make it look perfect and get it anchored right, so. And I try to do this somewhat often. I will tell you, steel prices got, when I got this, I went, ooh, okay, that's a hefty number, but we do have it in the budget. We have to do it because it is a safety issue, so.
Yes.
Yeah.
Comments? Anybody? Questions? Nope. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So, number 7, Lake Secor Park Advisory Board, they would like us to consider a request to authorize setting the rates for their 2022 seasonal employees. Those rates would be lifeguard, head lifeguard, $20 per hour, a regular lifeguard, $17.50, and a brand-new lifeguard, $15 per hour. I don't see a problem with that. This is what we've done, not me, but the board, for time and time again. So anybody comments on that? No? All right, and then the last thing on the agenda, Edward J. Scott, corresponding secretary from the Hopac Volunteer Fire Department. He gave the town clerk a list of active members that need to be deleted and added to the rolls of the Mahopac Volunteer Fire Department. So to delete, Kiernan Sullivan has resigned from the department due to increased duties at his job. He leaves in good standing, resignation date May 5th, 2022. He'd like new members added, accepted at their April 7th meeting. Returning to active status from exempt status was Jamie Fieldale from Carmel. New members that they're adding are Samuel Pritzmilski, Michael Arcicchio, Albert Kaznuja, and Justin, and Edward J. Scott just closes this with thank you very much. So comments-wise, we are having the first of the 2 e-waste drop-off days in conjunction with the town of Kent. This year, or this month, it's going to be in Kent, and then in September, we have to pick a date, but it'll be here in Carmel. Saturday, June 11th, 2022, at the Kent Town Hall, 25 Sybil's Crossing. It'll be from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m., all residents of the town of Carmel. And again, that's not just Carmel, it's Mahopac and Mahopac Falls residents. There is a list of the items that can be recycled on the website. We got in our signs, just to show you. These are the signs that we'll be putting up. We have 10. I'm going to have to ask Highway to put these up. I know. The police department ordered cameras, and we have 10 signs to put up in all of the, or not all of the locations, in the locations that people have been dumping. I ask people not to dump, of course, but if you see somebody dumping, please call the police department. We're going to be putting cameras out to catch them. And on the same note, if you see a garbage truck or another truck and garbage is flying out of it, you would call the police department. And a police officer hopefully will respond out and catch the violator. That is a violation to have loose cargo that is flying out of the back of a truck, whether it's a garbage truck or an unsecured load of a pickup truck or dump truck. So the police will come out and investigate that. They can notify engineering, who can talk to AAA if it's AAA about cleaning up the garbage, or they could be fined according to the contract. But I need you, if you see somebody dumping or you see garbage flying out of a truck, to please call the police department, 845-628-1300, of course. If you're not driving your car and you can take pictures or video the violator, do it. Don't do any picture taking if you're driving your car, please. We're not asking you to do that. And I have to thank the Highway Department did put the no parking signs up on Cherry Lane. There were cars that were parking, causing a hazard. They were parking perpendicular on the road and clogging off Cherry Lane. It was dangerous to pedestrian and vehicle traffic. So it is illegal to park within 30 feet of a stop sign. So signs have been put up, and the officers have been enforcing that. So please don't park on Cherry Lane and cause a hazard. So that's all I have. Anyone else have comments?
All good.
Oh.
Two events that we had over the weekend. Two events that myself, I think we all attended, was the Relay for Life. That was it was a very good event. We were there for the opening ceremony, myself and Councilman Lombardi, and also we had the Carmel Street Fair. I made it there towards the end of the day, but Councilman Lombardi was there all day. He helped to sponsor it, and he ran. He did a great job, and so did everybody else. It was great. Two great events.
Yeah, he helped set it up. He did a lot of work with that. Thank you, Councilman Lombardi.
My pleasure.
So can I get a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second?
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
So thank you, and we'll see you next Wednesday.
Good night.